Hello, lovely folks. I'm dressed up very pretty-ish, which means that we are up to some mischief that you hopefully are going to appreciate and enjoy very soon. Nimzo annoying lines. Let's go. The first one that people tend to struggle with is bishop d2, and I reckon the number one reason why we struggle is because very often we do something like this. d5 here, take, castles, knight f3. And then we go like, well, I don't want to play c5 because that will open up the bishop's diagonal. We play c6, e3, knight d7, bishop d3. And we are disgusted by ourselves of what we have done. We realize that we are playing a Queen's Gambit declined with no dark squared bishop. We have no plans. The position sucks on this in the center, on the king side, and on the queen side. Yuck. Okay, so how to overcome this? After bishop d2, I recommend we castle. After a3, we take, and we don't bite into the center yet. What we do is we play a developing move like b6. They play knight f3, and we play bishop b7. They play e3, and we jump in. Now that usually triggers the reaction like queen c2 or rook c1, because now the double pawns are actually quite annoying for white, because then we can just shut this structure down and c4 becomes weak. Usually people think that double pawns are terrible. They are not, and I'm going to make a video about that. It needs to be assessed on a case-to-case basis, but when the double pawns are immobile, they are usually bad. So they play queen c2, we play d6, and we are still floating two main plans. One of them is knight d7 and then eventually e5, or if they play bishop d3, we can go f5. And here again, instead of playing an opening, we play a structure. This looks like a very good classical Dutch, where this diagonal is very juicy. We might get access to some kingside attack, and that just in general the position is looking very healthy, and the fact that they have got two bishops is rather irrelevant because neither of them are particularly powerful at the moment. So yeah, this is it, and this is my recommendation for you to go for this particular setup. I think it's really handy. So one more time, we just castle, a3, we take, and then b6, and develop the bishop here, the knight here, keeping everything very flexible. Know that at no point can white play e4. So again, it may look like we are actually surrendering the center, but the reality is that although white has got two pawns and we have got none, but we have potential moves to enter the fray, and all of our minor pieces are ideally placed. In particular, the bishop is really powerful down this diagonal. So this is what I would recommend you to do against this bishop d2 setup. Moving on, there are a few people who like to annoy us with queen b3, which is basically an accelerated queen c2, because now the bishop is under attack. Best response is c5, remember this, and if they take, we play knight c6, defending the bishop, bringing a new customer into the game. And if a3, you do not take. No, we take back here, because now this queen on b3 is really badly misplaced. They would really like to play b4 here, but they can't. And again, after e3, we play d5, and lo and behold, you are out of theory, because you are in a structure. And when I say you are in a structure, I mean one that we know. A very likely IQP is on the horizon, with a very badly misplaced queen again. So black is already a little bit better in this position, because white will have to wait. White will have to waste another move on removing the queen from here. And you know, you do the usual stuff: bishop g4, queen e7, rook d1, rook a1, rook e1, and just go forward in the center. Very splendid, nice position. Maybe bishop needs to go to e6 now that the queen is on b3. As you can see, the engine favors black already. The somewhat more common response to this is a3, or not necessarily more common, but this is a a real test. And after bishop takes, queen takes, knight c6, we are gaining tempo after tempo after tempo on the queen. I did have a game of my own in queen h4, which is probably the best game I have ever created in terms of creative efforts. It was an unsound sacrifice that I went for in that game, but it was just insane. However, I later figured out by the aid of the computer that my d5 here was by no means the best choice, although extremely logical. The engine actually prefers e5. Quite interestingly. There was another engine move here that I really liked, which was knight e7, with the idea of grabbing another huge tempo on that queen on f5. And I actually settled for this as my favorite line. Knight f3, knight f5, queen f4, maybe, so that the queen can go that way back home. And now knight e7 is the third recommendation of the engine. And here we have got d6 and d5 as well. d6 seems best. And black is doing splendidly well. The white pieces find it very difficult to develop. And if e4 hits, then e5 wins the pawn. That's a very cool motif. If they drop back, then we just either b6 or castles. And you can see that the white queen has made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves already. So that can't be good. So yeah, knight e7, knight f5 is my recommendation. e5 is also very interesting. I quite like this. So we might have a look at this too. And if e3 castles knight f3, then again the idea is that we can swing this dude around here very annoyingly. What a amazing stuff. Check this out. Knight e7. An extremely annoying threat is knight f5. And the queen is really, really running short of breath. And the pawn is not hanging due to check. Oopsie daisies. Booyah, baba. Give this one a red hot go. And see how you go with that. So once again, if queen b3, then we are going to play c5. If they kick us out, we take, like almost always we do. And then we send this queen on a very awkward 80 days around the chessboard journey. Phileas Fogg, I think that was the name of the dude who was the main character of 80 Days Around the World. A fabulous book by Jules Verne, or Verne rather. e5. Loving it. With bishop g5, I can hear already you asking me, what if bishop g5? Well, I don't care about this, but more importantly, we have a check here, which is awkward to me because b4 hangs, and if the bishop needs to drop back, then we can, I guess, pull back to b6. Yep. And then knight d4 is incoming. And this is hanging. GG on your bike. There you go. That covered too. And last but not least, and I don't know if I'm really covering the annoying lines that you struggle against in the Nimzo, but I'm going to leave the main lines queen c2, e3, a3, f3 even for the last video. So the last one I'm going to deal with is bishop g5. This is typically another response that Nimzo players just go like, oh, I don't really like that, but we have no reason to not like it. The business is very simple. We play c5, d5, h6, bishop back, and this is virtually, for all I can recall, the only variation where we voluntarily take on c3 without being prompted by a3. And the reason behind that is because white's ideal central pawn layout is with e4, and due to this very sneaky h6 bishop h4 insertion, it's never accessible because of g5, and we pick off the cherry. And so they usually play here e3, then we play e5, and bishop d3 e4 is the main variation that you need to remember here. So after bishop d3, black is actually facing the threat of e4, and so we chuck in our own e4. Note that take loses again to g5, whereas takes just loses that one. So the bishop has to drop back, and then here queen e7. No, hang on a tick. No, knight d7 first, and then queen e7 is theory. That's right. And now we have got a fabulous square on e5, and in fact, and this is something that I very highly recommend you to do, instead of trying to memorize lines by going through repeatedly lines, try to find, when you play a line or you're learning a line and you're trying to memorize it, try to find a sample game. And that's exactly what I did here for you. So instead of trying to here grind into you that queen e7, knight e5, g5, sometimes with castle here, sometimes with castle there, sometimes we go to c7, have a look at a game. I played someone rather well established, in this case Anatoly Karpov, and let's see how he does it. e5, e4, g5, queen e7, that's fine. So the knight d7 move order actually would transpose into this. h4, rook g8. This is very important again to remember, that we actually surrender the h-file simply because there is no good penetration point. Like a lot of students of mine and club players tell me, oh, we lost the h-file. Yes, that's very true. Is it meaningful though? I mean, rook h6 can be occasionally annoying, but not really. Knight e2, knight d7, queen b1. The irony is that it feels like black has got less space, but as soon as I turn the board around and I put you in white's shoes, you realize that the horse is dead. The bishop has got very little scope. This bishop has a lot of scope, but it's covered. So white is actually also struggling for space for his pieces. Queen b1 is a testament to that. And this motif is very, very commonplace. That we just walk the king here. Awesome stuff by Karpov. And then he shuts down the queen side. So it doesn't want to allow this. And then the heavies can start pressuring the queen side. He shuts down the whole entire queen side. He doesn't want to commit to b6 yet though, because he wants to trade these two rooks off. Okay, I just went a little bit ahead of myself. So he brought the queen forward to deny this move, because a5 hangs. So now he walked out of it. Now white does need to watch out for rook b6 occasionally. Because after queen a5, the queen is stranded hopelessly on a5. In fact, rook b2 is a very clever move. Look out for your opponent's IDs too. If you play rook b6, I reckon they wanted to do a queen saccarino. Knight takes, rook takes, and oopsies. Lo and behold, we are facing some issues. I think that's what white had intended. So Karpov just went like, yeah, nah, mate. I'm going to tuck this king away here. And you can say that this rook is a shockingly bad piece, but I would counter with, yes, so is this and this. So the queen went back, and now Karpov is gradually kicking out the white pieces. Such a textbook Karpov. Look at that. Brought the rook up here to deal with the queenside issues. In fact, it's protecting d6. How good is that? And now he starts his kingside aggression. White is doing the same shebang, walking across to the other side. Okay, let's trade dudes. He trades dudes. He fixes up the queenside, and now a new weakness has arisen from nowhere, literally. A very typical motif in the Nimzo, and white is simply going to bleed out on the weakness of set pawn. Knight back. I think he wants to reshuffle and play for f4. Thank you, Karpov, for ruining my day. No, he doesn't. He wants to play still for f4. At least I got that one right. And white actually threw in the towel, you might say a little bit prematurely. But I dare say that after bishop h2, rook h8, like, look at it. His pieces can't move. It's insane. Is it rook h8? No, knight e5 is even better, apparently. So if takes, then we take c4. Yeah, I would have actually played here rook h8. It's more torturous. And the idea is something like rook up, queen h7, and just kill on the h-file. Splendid chess. Absolutely fabulous chess. So this is how you learn opening strategy and opening, well, not only opening strategy, but actual openings. That you go through the game and you go like, ah, I see. So we tuck away our king on the queen side. We basically dodge all non-existent threats. We fix the c-pawn. We start rolling up here and here when we can. And it's all fine and dandy. So this is how you play the bishop g5 Nimzo, folks. I tried to make this video short and sweet, partly because my voice is a little bit weak, but partly because I don't like to make these videos too long, because then they kind of defeat the purpose. I want to give you a very brief idea, structure a common plan that you can relate to and recognize, and just off you go, play it and have some fun with it. So I hope, guys, this was helpful, and I will be back with more soon. Thank you. Bye.